back. Laying the groundwork for school readiness and long-term success can start at birth in the pediatrician's office. Joining us now to talk about a national program called Reach Out and Read, our Regional Executive Director, Alex Chu, and Dr. Jeanette Callahan, a Reach Out and Read clinician and a director of the Wellness Collaborative in Roxbury, an educational organization that brings innovative solutions to eliminating healthcare disparities. Welcome. How are you both? Good to see you today. Dr. Callahan, I want to start with you. We put a lot of responsibility on literacy on schools where children are taught to read. Why is the doctor's office a critical place for early literacy?
Well, the doctor's office actually is a place of trust. It actually remains a place of trust, especially for new parents. And parents are always looking for ways to enhance their child's growth and development. And we provide that information. And part of literacy is really the relationship that parents build with their child. So reading is an opportunity to share one's culture and language in a non-threatening and a very enjoyable way.
Now, I don't know. I didn't like my pediatrician when I was a kid because it was always trying to give me shots and vaccinations. I hated going to the doctor's office.
Yeah.
But having books there is an opportunity for kids to take their minds off of some of being in that space?
Absolutely, absolutely. And because of the hustle and bustle of the primary care clinic, there's oftentimes that parents are waiting for us to come into the room. The books are actually given beforehand. So it actually brings that space into a more familiar space of exchange of creativity, exchange of pictures and the wonders of one's imagination.
Make it a positive experience.
Make it a positive experience.
Yeah, the 2020-21 National Survey of Children's Health found that 54% of American children birth to 5 years of age with family incomes 400% of the federal poverty threshold or greater were read to daily, compared with only 24% of children and families living below the poverty threshold. Alex, what are the factors that contribute to more affluent families reading more to their children? And how does your program address these gaps?
So the contributing factors here is oftentimes our more affluent families have more books in the home, and they just have access to more information about the importance of shared reading in the home, shared reading with your child every day. One of the things that we know is that a child's 80% of a child's brain is developed in the first 1,000 days. And so here at Reach Out and Read, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make that information universal and use those early years as a way to make all families aware of the importance and give them access in the space to be able to do that and be able to read out loud to their children every day.
And to develop reading as a habit. It's something fun,
absolutely. Reading as a habit. Reading is so important. It provides the foundational skills of everything that you need moving forward. And not only that, but it also helps to develop healthy relationships and bonding with the families in such a way that it provides social and emotional development for the brain and actually protects against adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress.
Dr. Callahan, talk more about some of the other developmental benefits to reading with children early.
Just the open-mindedness of that relationship. Relationship is huge. The mental health of our children is actually compromised these days because they are presented with instruments and digital devices where things move very quickly. When you're reading a book, it slows life down. It slows life down for that moment.
And you're focusing.
So the problems with attention deficit disorder that we're seeing so much more of these days is because of the rapid pace of society. And some of it obviously is biological, but much of it is the habits that we have made for children. It's a very rapid pace.
That whole scanning on the cell phone.
Exactly, exactly. And it does not really, it doesn't really promote the benefits of being in a slow-paced, imaginatory space between a parent and a child. That relationship is key.
Alex, how many families are benefiting from your programs, and is it something that's automatic, or do people need to request books? How do you get involved in Reach Out and Read?
So Reach Out and Read is a national nonprofit, and nationwide we're serving about 5 million kids in all 50 states in clinic sites across the country. Here in the Northeast, we, in Massachusetts, we're serving about 250,000 kids at 600 different clinic sites across the state. And if you are part of a Reach Out and Read clinic, you are part of a Reach Out and Read clinic. And that means every child that walks through that door gets a book and gets to work with their pediatricians to understand the importance of shared reading.
So that's what happens, Dr. Callahan, the experience of families when they come to the program.
Absolutely.
They bring their child in for a regular check, and then you give them a book.
Exactly.
And then what?
Well, we give them the book, and oftentimes I utilize that experience with the book to see if they're developmentally advancing. For a 6-month-old, obviously the book is going to go in the mouth, and we have specific types of books, the cardboard books, that are designed for that. But
To be chewed. Designed to be chewed,
They are
of
designed to be
course.
chewed. But what's really remarkable is I can see just by observation what the relationship is between the parent, whether the trust has been built. And at each developmental stage, you will see the child pointing to certain things in the book, and that will assist us in the developmental analysis.
And Alex, it's not just important for children to have access to books. There's a certain type of book that can be affirmational to them as well, right? Tell us about windows and mirrors.
Yes, absolutely. So at Reach Out and Read, it is incredibly important for us to be able to have books and have a collection that represents the diversity of the families and the communities that we serve. And so at Reach Out and Read, we use this analogy of windows and mirrors because we want children to use books as a tool for mirrors in a way that they can see themselves and they can see the experiences that they have, and that helps to build self-worth and that helps to build a sense of belonging. And at the same time, we want those books to also be windows so that they can see the experiences of other people and build community and empathy in the world.
That's great. And I know you have a lot of classics in that collection too. Just wonderful. So nice. I also enjoyed reading when I was a young person. It's a great program. Get everybody involved.
Yeah.
All right. So Alex Chu and Dr. Jeanette Callahan, thank you for joining us today to tell us about Reach Out and Read.